Today we are going to answer the question of the century, a question that has bothered lakhs of MBA aspirants, whether you should do an MBA in India or outside of India. Hello everyone, my name is Rukman and in today's video we are going to compare MBA in India versus MBA outside India, and we are going to do that by looking at the advantages of both the options. So let's begin with MBA in India. The first advantage of MBA in India is lower fees. It is given that the fees of MBA programs in India is far lower than that compared to Europe and in US. You would have seen that on an average, the fee in India is roughly in the range of rupees 20 lakhs to 30 lakh rupees. Whereas outside of India, it goes over a crore as well sometimes. So you would have noticed that the cost of doing an MBA in India is roughly 1/3 to 1/4 of that abroad. Adding to that, there are a lot of options in India which are like just 2 lakhs or 6 lakh rupees in fees. Like for example, in FMS or TIS Mumbai, the fees is only 2 lakh rupees. In JBIMS, it's about 6 lakh rupees last I remembered. So you always have cheaper options in India compared to outside India. And adding to that, in India, the fee structure usually comprises of your tuition fee as well as living expenses such as hostel, mess, Wi-Fi, library, and other ancillary expenses. Whereas outside India, they usually give tuition fees and living expenses separately. Now, I know that doesn't make a lot of difference, but isn't it a bit more convenient to know the overall budget of your MBA program than to leave the living expenses very arbitrary, right? So definitely cost-wise, India is better. Also in India, there are some B schools that give you the flexibility of paying your fees after every trimester rather than giving your fees in one go. What that does is it reduces the financial burden on you and your family. So coming to the second benefit of doing an MBA in India is freshers. If you are a fresher, then MBA in India is not only your best option, it is rather your only option, because most MBA programs outside of India require you to have minimum of 3 years of work experience. In fact, there are some MBA programs that require you to have 3 years of managerial work experience. So usually people who do MBA outside of India are roughly in the age group of 27 to 35, even 40. They have about 5-6 years of experience on an average. Whereas in India, if you are a fresher, you can do your MBA right after your graduation, right after your undergrad. In fact, I have seen that there are some MBA students who at the time of enrollment were just 20 or 21 years old. In fact, they did not even have their degree certificate at the time of getting enrolled. They only had their certificate of passing, and eventually they got their degree certificate couriered. So if you are a fresher, then MBA in India makes most sense for you. The third benefit of MBA in India is placements. What? Rukman, have you gone mad? Look at the placement report of foreign universities. They have salaries in crores. In India, you don't get salaries in crores that easily. Well, I understand that, but there are a lot of other aspects that are involved when it comes to placements as well. The first thing is you're not taking into account the purchasing power parity. 1 crore in Europe is more or less equivalent to 25 lakhs in India. Because the cost of living in Europe is very high, that 1 crore salary in Europe doesn't seem that big, to be honest. In fact, you can live quite a comfortable life in India with a 25 lakh per annum job as well. So first thing is the purchasing power parity between the two countries. The second thing when we are talking about placements is that in India, when it comes to placements, you are not alone. Getting you placed is not just your job. It is also the job of the placement committee. It's also the job of the university, because every year a lot of B schools in India, they boast of 100% placements achieved. And for them to be able to boast about 100% placements and attract more students, they have to achieve 100% placements. So in India, it's not only your job to get your job. There are a lot of people who are involved in getting you placed. You will continuously have CV verifications, you will have pre-placement talks, you will have interview trainings. The placement committee is going to keep running after you to get you placed by hook or crook. And that is how in India, because thanks to placement committees across B schools, that is how in India most top B schools are able to achieve 100% placements. Whereas outside of India, they do not have a concept of placement as such. They have career portals, they have job fairs. So what they are going to do is, they're not going to get you a job, they're going to assist you in getting a job. So they're going to help you with your CV formatting, they're going to help you with interview training, they're going to help you interact with recruiters from across the globe, but they are not as motivated as Indian placement committees are to get you a job. So in a way, if you are pursuing your MBA outside India, to get a job, you are on your own. And the third thing about placements is that in India, a lot of B schools are able to achieve 100% placements. That means that at the time of your convocation, you would already have a job in your hand in most of the cases, unless there is some global recession or COVID that has happened. In an idealistic condition, most of the MBA students have a job offer in their hand and have accepted that job offer at the time of their convocation. So even before you graduate, in your last trimester, you already have a job in your hand. Isn't that amazing? Whereas outside of India, that seldom happens. In fact, if we look at the report of INSEAD, which is one of the top B schools in the world, you would have seen that in their latest employment report of 2024, only 80% students got a job offer in the first 3 months of graduation. Now, I want you to decode this. 80% is very less for a top global B school, right? Second thing is that getting a job offer and accepting a job offer are two separate things. It's possible that you get a job offer, but you did not like the offer, so you just rejected it. So the employment report says 80% students got a job offer within 3 months of graduating, which basically means that even after graduating, even after getting your degree, there is a strong possibility that you may not have a job offer in your hand. So when we look at it from that point of view, obviously placements in India seem a lot better. In fact, I would say not better, but it's less risky compared to placements outside of India. So in India, you get 100% placements, you have a job offer even before you graduate, but the same doesn't always apply for B schools outside of India. Moreover, the kind of roles that you get in India are more or less similar to the roles that you get outside India, with the only difference being that you would be working in the India office. So it's possible for you to get a job at, let's say, McKinsey, but you would probably get a job in Gurgaon or Mumbai or Bangalore. Whereas if you are studying from INSEAD, then you would probably get a McKinsey role, but Singapore office or Paris office, London office, something like that. But in terms of the job roles, more or less both are very similar to each other. One more aspect that you need to look at is the salary difference. Now, if you, for example, if you go to NCR to do your MBA and for X, Y, Z reason, global recession or anything, you are unable to secure a job in Paris or London or Singapore or Dubai, what do you do then? As an Indian student, your best option is to come back to India. But remember, if you come back to India, you are not going to get a 1 crore package like how you would have got in Paris. Because of the purchasing power parity, in India, you are most likely to get paid as much as an IM or ISB graduate. And that is because most companies in India cannot afford to give 1 crore salary to entry level position, right? So in most cases, if you come back to India after doing your MBA outside of India, you would be paid in par with IM, ISB graduates. But the difference is going to be that the IM graduate doesn't have a 1 crore rupee student debt on his head, but you do. You have to pay the student loan, but you are earning as much as an IIM graduate. You're not earning 1 crore per annum. So from that point of view, placements in India definitely makes more sense. And now you must be thinking, wow, Rukman, you have actually convinced me to do my MBA in India. MBA outside of India makes no sense at all. Let me change your mind. The intention behind this video is not to convince you to do MBA in India. It's to compare the two programs. So now we are going to talk about the benefits of doing MBA outside of India. The number one advantage of MBA outside India is international exposure. And when I say international exposure, I am not only talking about the nationalities in the classroom. Like obviously that is a pro. There are B schools that have 54, 55 different nationalities. So you get a chance to interact with people from Taiwan, Japan, Germany, China, a lot of Indian students, France, Italy. You have students from across the globe studying in your class. So that diversity is something that you get, and you get to learn from each other's culture. The worst thing that you can do in this case is to stick around an Indian group only, because you will find Indians back in India as well, right? So if you are going outside of India to study, you must interact with people from different nationalities and not just create a small circle of Indian students and stick to them only. Obviously, I understand that you feel homesick at times and you want to be around other Indians to not feel homesick. But try to still interact with international students as much as possible, because that is the kind of international exposure you would get in an international MBA program. Wow, I use the word international so many times. And when we talk about international exposure, we are not only talking about the nationalities, we are also talking about global job opportunities. So if you pursue your MBA in a foreign university, you are opening yourself up to global opportunities. You will get job offers from Singapore, Dubai, London, Paris, Rome, Dublin, Tokyo, from across the globe. Whereas in India, you usually get to work in cities like Gurgaon, Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Hyderabad. These are Chennai. In 99.9% cases, if you do an MBA in India, you'll end up getting a job in India. But outside of India, you open yourself up to global opportunities. So that global exposure is also something that you get. And moreover, when we talk about international exposure, we also need to take into account the global recognition of a degree. In India, mostly B schools offer a PGDM, whereas outside of India, B schools offer an MBA program. If you do not know the difference between PGDM and MBA, I highly suggest you to click on this video to understand the difference between MBA and PGDM. In India at least, most of the recruiters consider PGDM equivalent to an MBA. But the same may not necessarily apply outside of India. There may be some recruiters outside of India who would say that no, PGDM is just a diploma. We want someone who has done an MBA. So they are not going to consider the two programs equivalent to each other. Some of the recruiters may consider. And adding to that, so you get an MBA, and in India you get a PGDM, but adding to that, you may not be studying from a university in India which is globally recognized. Like for example, an MBA aspirant sitting in Kenya does not know what a big institute XLRI is, or SPJN is, or SIPM is. These are top B schools in India. But someone sitting in Kenya or someone sitting in France would not be aware of that. But everybody knows Harvard Business School. Everybody knows HEC Paris. Everybody knows NCR. Everybody knows Stanford Business School. Everybody knows Chicago Booth. These are globally recognized brands. So when you graduate from, let's say, Harvard Business School and you apply for a job in Singapore, there is a very strong possibility that your recruiter knows about Harvard Business School. But if you graduate from, let's say, MDI Gurgaon and you apply for a job in Singapore, there may be a possibility that your recruiter has never heard of MDI Gurgaon, which is a top B school in India. So when we talk about international exposure, you get to interact with various nationalities, you open yourself to job opportunities across the globe, and also you get a degree from an institute, a degree which is globally recognized from an institute that is globally recognized. So that is the number one advantage of doing an MBA outside India. The second is quality of education. The kind of professors who teach you in these international B schools are industry experts. They are, some of them are globally renowned names. Imagine being taught by globally renowned professors on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis. Imagine these kind of professors, they know you by your first name. You are within, their radius, their vicinity. You get to walk with them, talk to them. So in terms of professors, yes, the professors outside of India are globally recognized. They're big names. In fact, they even use a better teaching methodology. The teaching methodology, the curriculum is also a lot better outside India than in India. They solve case studies on a regular basis. There is a lot more class discussion that happens. And talking about class discussion, when we talk about quality of education, you also need to take into account your peers, the cohort that you're sitting with. In most of the international B schools, you would see that people are 28, 29, 30 years old. They have some kind of industry experience. You would meet people who have been investment bankers, who have been consultants, who have worked with Fortune 500 companies. These are the type of people who are sitting in your class, and these are the type of people you're going to solve case studies with, you're going to have class discussions with. So in terms of quality of education, in terms of the faculty, teaching methodology, in terms of curriculum, in terms of your peer-to-peer learning, definitely MBA outside of India is a lot better. And the third benefit of MBA outside of India is, without a doubt, the one-year program. Isn't it amazing that you can get an MBA in just 1 year? Most of the B schools in India, apart from ISB and some of the executive MBA programs, most B schools in India have a 2-year program. Whereas in Europe, MBA program is usually for 10 months to 1 year. Now, why this makes a lot of sense is because there are some people who have been working for 4 years, 5 years, and now they're thinking of doing an MBA. They are not ready to take a career break for 2 years, become a student, and then get back to their career. They want something which is a lot quicker. They want to do something in just 10 months to 1 year and then get back into their career. So for such kind of people, the 1-year program makes a lot of sense. It also makes sense because the 1-year program is designed for those people who do not want to spend a lot of time in education, who just want to accelerate their career and get back to their career. And what that does is, you are not only saving 1 additional year as a student, you're also earning 1 additional year as an employee. Because let's not forget, the opportunity cost of doing an MBA is that for those 2 years, you're not employed, you're not earning anything, right? So the 1-year program in Europe is definitely a major plus for international MBAs than compared to that in India. So these were the 3 advantages of doing an MBA in India versus doing an MBA outside of India. So which one is right for you? You must be confused by now. Let me make things simpler for you. If you are a fresher and if you do not want to spend a lot of money on your education, and if you want to get into a managerial position as soon as possible with a very high salary, MBA in India makes sense for you. But if you are someone who has more than 3 years, 4 years of work experience and who is now looking for international opportunities and who is already at, let's say, a 15 lakh package, then MBA outside of India makes more sense. Now, why did I highlight the 15 lakh packages? Because on an average, the kind of salary that you get after doing an MBA from, let's assume, a tier 2 college in India is in the range of 20 to 25 lakhs per annum. When you're already at a 15 lakh rupee salary, spending 2 years on an MBA and then coming back to a 20 lakh rupee salary may not be the best financial decision, because you would reach 20 lakh rupees either ways, through switching your job or through getting promoted. Eventually in a couple of years you are anyways going to reach 20 lakh rupees. So you would feel that I basically came back to square one. I am earning as much as I would have been earning just with my a bachelor's degree. So if you are someone who has more than 3 years of work experience, is earning more than 15 lakhs per annum and is looking for global opportunities, MBA outside India makes sense. But mind you, you should also have the financial capability to do that. I also want to highlight one thing that you can do as an MBA aspirant for international MBA programs is that I have seen that there are some Fortune 500 companies that provide financial aid to you, and they give you a guaranteed job offer after you do your MBA. So to give you an example, let's say I am working with Barclays. Okay, I have been working with Barclays for 4 to 5 years. I am not working with Barclays. This is just for the sake of example. 4 to 5 years of experience at Barclays, and now I am able to get into an agreement with my employer saying that I have got an offer from London Business School and I'm planning to do my MBA from London Business School. Is there any kind of financial aid that you can provide? In a lot of cases, Barclays may say, you know what, Rukman, yes, let's do that. We are going to pay 25 lakh rupees as financial aid for your fees, under this condition that you rejoin Barclays after your MBA. If you do that, then we are ready to give you 25 lakh rupees, which will help you in paying off your tuition fee. In this case, you can say that, okay, I will join Barclays, but I'll join Barclays in the London office. If Barclays agrees to that, you are in the best position ever. Nothing can be better than this. Why? Because you are already having an assured job offer. You are having an assured job offer outside of India. And third thing is, you are also getting financial aid for your international MBA. This is the best position to be in. If you are in a situation like this, then you must do MBA outside of India. There is one more thing I have to mention. There are some people who have done an MBA in India. They work in India for about 4-5 years, and then they go ahead and do one more MBA outside of India, which is a 1-year program. So that is basically a lot of money invested, and that is basically 3 years gone into MBA. But that decision also makes sense for some people. So yes, please note that even if you do MBA in India, doing a second MBA outside of India is also an option that you will always have. Lastly, I just want to say that whether you do it from India, whether you do it from outside of India, the most important thing is that you do it from a top university. Ultimately, most people do MBA only once in their life, and you must go to the best university that you can manage to get into. You would be a fool if you get admission in IIM Ahmedabad and another average B school outside of India, and you choose to reject IIM Ahmedabad to go to that average B school of outside India only for the sake of international exposure. You are a fool to do that. There are a lot of IIM graduates who ultimately do end up getting a job somewhere in Singapore, Dubai, London. That also happens. It's not that if you do an MBA in India, then you're going to spend the rest of your life in India only. You will get offshore opportunities. You will get international opportunities even if you do MBA in India. So ultimately what matters is, do your MBA from the best university, whether India or outside of India. Do not compromise on the quality of the B school that you apply to or you get into. Okay, so with that, thank you for watching this video. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this was able to clear out a lot of queries that some of you might have had. If you found this video helpful, then please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Also, let me know in the comment section whether you are planning to do an MBA outside of India or in India, and what is your rationale behind it. With that, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.